Hey there, Star Wars fans! Today we're diving deep into the mysterious Force witches from the Acolyte and how they connect to the larger Star Wars universe. Buckle up because we're about to explore some fascinating lore that might just change how you view the Force itself. First, let's talk about Anasea's coven from the Acolyte. These witches, led by Mother Anasea, operate on the planet Brendok during the High Republic era. But they're not your typical Force users. They have a unique perspective on the Force that sets them apart from both the Jedi and the Sith. Anasea's coven refers to the Force as the Thread. Now, this isn't just a fancy name, it represents a fundamentally different understanding of the Force. According to Mother Anasea, the Thread isn't a power to be wielded, instead, it's a connection between all living things, tying everyone to their destiny. This view of the Force as an interconnected web, rather than a tool to be used, is fascinating. It's a more holistic, almost spiritual approach that contrasts sharply with how the Jedi and Sith typically view the Force. But here's where it gets really interesting. The Coven sees the Thread as a cooperative, additive power. The more witches working together, the stronger their abilities become. This is a far cry from the often individualistic approach we see from Jedi and Sith. Now, if you're a long-time Star Wars fan, you might be thinking, wait a minute, this sounds familiar, and you'd be right. Anasea's coven bears some striking similarities to another group of Force users we've seen before, the Night Sisters of Dathomir. Like Anasea's coven, the Night Sisters were a matriarchal society that used the Force in ways that would make a Jedi's hair stand on end. Both groups refer to their leaders as Mother, and both practice what many would consider dark side abilities. But there are some key differences. While the Night Sisters openly embrace the dark side, Anasea's coven seems to have a more nuanced view. They acknowledge that their powers are classified as dark, but they don't seem to revel in darkness the way the Night Sisters did. So what does all this mean for the Star Wars universe? Well, it's expanding our understanding of how different cultures interpret and use the Force. We're moving beyond the simple light side, dark side dichotomy and exploring more nuanced approaches. This ties into something we've seen hints of in other Star Wars media. Remember Ahsoka Tano, who walks a path between Jedi and something else? Or the Bendu from Rebels, who claim to be the one in the middle? The Force witches of the Acolyte are another piece in this puzzle, showing us that there are many ways to understand and interact with the Force. Now let's talk about what happens to Anasea's coven. In the show, we see their downfall, which occurs in 148 BBY. This is a crucial moment as it sets up the conflict that drives the series. The Coven's destruction comes about through a perfect storm of events: the arrival of Jedi, internal conflict within the Coven, and the actions of the young witch, May. It's a tragedy that echoes the later destruction of the Night Sisters during the Clone Wars. This parallel raises some interesting questions. Are groups like Anasea's coven and the Night Sisters doomed to destruction because of their unorthodox approach to the Force? Or is their fall part of a larger pattern in the Star Wars universe where unique Force traditions are systematically wiped out? Even though Anasea's coven falls, their legacy lives on through characters like May and Osha. These twin sisters, raised in the Coven's traditions, go on to play crucial roles in the series. Their story is a perfect encapsulation of the show's themes: the tension between different Force traditions, the struggle between destiny and choice, and the blurring of lines between light and dark. The Force witches of the Acolyte aren't just a cool addition to Star Wars lore. They're expanding our understanding of what the Force can be. They're showing us that there's more to the galaxy's mystic energy than just Jedi and Sith. As we continue to explore the High Republic era and beyond, keep an eye out for more unique Force traditions. The galaxy is vast, and there's no telling what other fascinating interpretations of the Force we might discover. What do you think about the Force witches? Do you see them as dark side users or something more complex? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into Star Wars lore. May the Force, or should I say the thread, be with you.